All right, man. We are alive doing this. Pull this down. This cowboy game finale. The cowboy game finale. Let's clear this up a little bit. That looked a little blurry. Both of them look a little blurry. But let's clear this up, man. All right. Cool. Cool. But yeah, this is our Dallas Cowboys finale. I'm Roe Stars Sports, making sense, and coming to you live. Subscribe to the channel, please. Like the content. We could experience some turbulence today, based on what we have encountered in terms of the news for today. First and foremost, let's give a shout out to one of the sponsors, Amen. I deal with them all the time. That's my go-to in terms of setting up an IRA or retirement. I use TIAA. Great solution to enjoy retirement once you've kicked back and relaxed, and now you just want to hit cruise control. Go with TIAA. That's what's up. But here we go. Listen, man. The news on today is what it is. It's the Dallas Cowboys have released Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke's time with the Dallas Cowboys is done. Second go around being released. Gotta forgive me, I'm a little congested, man. I'm trying to battle with this cold and things like that, but I'm trying to get with it, but get through it. This is, I guess, flu season, cold season, whatever season you want to call it, but that's what it is. So let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Ezekiel Elliott's released, dismissed, whatever. The reports are saying that Ezekiel Elliott requested the release. I've heard Tom Downey talk about it. I haven't heard a lot of people give their take on this. I'm just going to give you my little take on it, just because as a running back, I used to play running back, and I was very good at it. But, having played that position, I know what it takes. I know the mindset. I know the mental capacity. I know what you have to have in order to be effective in the position. I know that it is a grimy position to play. But having said that, I've heard Tom Downey's. I heard of so many other. I haven't heard a lot of people, but the ones that I did listen to. I've never seen a player that puts so much on the line gets so much flack. I've even seen a lot of the fans. I've seen a lot of their comments as it relates to Zeke. And you even wonder whether or not these are actually true fans that have taken the initiative to give their or spew their thoughts about Ezekiel Elliott's play. A lot of these guys probably never played the position or played the game to know what it takes to play that position. Let's take it for what it's worth. I've said it before that they did the same thing to Tony Dorsett. Now, Jerry wasn't in the building at that point in time. Tex Rams and Tom Landry was. They let go Tony Dorsett. Now, I understand that particular circumstance. I understand that. But let's move it on to Emmitt Smith, one that I particularly did not understand it, especially they did the exact same thing that they did, shall I say, to DeMarco Murray, as well as Ezekiel Elliott. What was wrong with Emmitt Smith? They said he aged. They say he's father time. He's past his time. One thing people got to understand about running backs is that if there isn't a dominant line, and when Emmitt Smith was at his best, he had Daryl Moose Johnson, and he had a prolific offensive line, which enabled him to be the best that he could be in the secondary, to do what he did best, which is not necessarily make players miss them struggles in tackling him because of his ability, his skill set, to either swat the hand down or to just overpower or out-juke his opponent. Now, Emmitt Smith wasn't the fastest, never been the fastest, because of his elusiveness in the secondary. He was able to cash in touchdowns. DeMarco Murray. Who said that DeMarco Murray lost a step? Didn't lose a step. They just wanted to cut ties with DeMarco Murray. Didn't want to pay DeMarco Murray. Sent them to our nemesis, our rival, Philadelphia Eagles. DeMarco Murray, almost 2,000 back. DeMarco Murray was hellified to bring down. Once again, wasn't the fastest back. But it was Dallas Cowboys' problem with DeMarco Murray. The offensive line. The offensive line was the Dallas Cowboys. Let me do something about this. The Dallas Cowboys issue with DeMarco Murray. See, I think that's a little better. That was the issue with DeMarco Murray and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's move now forward to Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, not to forget to mention with DeMarco Murray, once again, DeMarco Murray wasn't the fastest back. He wasn't the fastest back. Move forward now to Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was not a fast back. Wasn't. He was a sprinter, but Ezekiel Elliott was a power back. Okay? Wasn't the fastest. Was able to get through holes because we had a what? Offensive line. See, every running back that the Cowboys have had throughout the years, from Tony Dorsett up to Ezekiel Elliott, we had an offensive line. When the offensive line was depleted, quarterback play suffered. Running back plays smothered. Quarterback play suffered. Running back play smothered. So here we are. Zeke is no longer the man. Tony Pollard comes in. Tony Pollard comes in, third down situations, and Tony Pollard is the man. Third down and special situations that he comes in, he's the man. Everybody's screaming, Tony Pollard over Zeke. Man, Zeke washed up. That's what we got. Is Ezekiel Elliott really washed up? No. What's happened with the offensive line? Some garbage. Tyron Smith, not even a shell of himself. Steele and the boys, issue problems. We sent one to Miami. Travis Frederick, ailing with injuries, issues, illnesses. Zach Martin trying to hold it down the best that he can. Tyron Smith, like I said, can't stay on the football field. So our unit has now been depleted. So what do you think is going to happen to the running back game? You still think that, for one, Ezekiel Elliott, Emmitt Smith, DeMarco Murray, with the exception of Tony Dorsett. But the rest of them, they wasn't Barry Sanders. Hello, we knew what we had when we got him. They wasn't Barry Sanders. They was not going to outrun nobody. Okay? Defenses change to adapt to what your offenses are doing. So just because Zeke outran a cornerback or a safety in his early years doesn't mean that the defense is not going to make what we call adjustments, what Dan Quinn didn't do for us. Mike Zimmer did make some adjustments with what he had. But defenses made adjustments to what the Cowboys had. So they got speedy cornerbacks, speedy safeties. So if you're thinking that Ezekiel Elliott is going to outrun these guys, no. But what we did have that in Ezekiel Elliott was we had power. And his power, when he got in the secondary or in the second tier of the defense, these guys don't want to tackle Ezekiel Elliott because he's too big, for one, to want to tackle him. Which brings us to the offensive line. You ain't going to get in the secondary or the second tier of the defense if your offensive line can't block. Let that sink in for a minute. The offensive line can't block. So we got fans. And we have the Tom Downeys of the world. See, we got the Tom Downeys of the world spewing about Ezekiel Elliott. Let's see if we can get this right quick so we can hear what has been said or what he is saying. It's ridiculous, but let's hear what he has to say on his podcast, which I totally disagreed with entirely. Where is he? No. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this up for you guys, but just bear with me. In other words, Ezekiel Elliott is getting a whole lot of blame, ridicule, and it's a shame that Ezekiel Elliott has to go through what he is going through just because you have a head coach that is incompetent. Incompetent head coach. The owner can't see because his head is so far up his rectum. And his son is equally delusional because, I mean, and I get it. It had to be done. I got it. But the disrespect that came along with it is one that, you know, if you are a true Cowboy fan, and like I just finished saying, they did the same thing with 3 of the running backs of our past. And I said that before, that I understand Tony Dorsett. I understand Tony Dorsett. And thank you, Jerry Jones. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate you. Thanks for following. It's right here. But Tony Dorsett, I understand. Emmitt Smith, I didn't understand. DeMarco Murray, I didn't understand. And now we're here with Ezekiel Elliott, and we're trying to put pieces together. But let's hear what Tom Downey has to say. And this is kind of sort of the disrespect that comes along with being a Cowboy, especially a Cowboy player. But us as fans, man, I tell you the truth, it's unbelievable how our fans are. Let's see, where is he? Isn't it funny? This is so funny. Okay, let me do it like this. Per request. Okay, let's do it like this. All right, here we go. Let's hear what he has to say here. This is Tom Downey. Be careful. Let me see. I want to make sure that that we are on cue. Let's see. There we go. Tom Downey. Come on, man. Come on.
Coming in similarly, Zeke has requested this release, the Cowboys granting it, in part because it's like a thank you for all that you did over your career with the Dallas Cowboys. Sounds like Zeke harbors hopes of getting picked up by a playoff team to help make a push. You saw something similar last year when the Jets cut Dalvin Cook and the Ravens picked him up and he played in one of their playoff games in garbage time. You could see something similar for Ezekiel Elliott. Two things I wonder here, and we'll go more in depth on some of the other stuff around Zeke overall. Two things I wonder. Number one, did a team already kind of backdoor their way, hey, if you get released, we've got interest in you? It seemed like maybe the Lions, given their injuries in the running back room.
I can see that. If that is the case, I can see that, which is the only reason why you would request for a trade this late in the season with only one game to play. It is obvious that the Cowboys was not going to allow Ezekiel Elliott to break Tony Dorsett's record. That's quite obvious, and because he wasn't going to be given the opportunities to do it. And so hey, I don't think that's a far-fetched reality for the Dallas Cowboys to do such a thing, or for Ezekiel Elliott to request that trade, shall I say. So I would do it. Look, if I have an opportunity to play, then I'm going to request a trade from the Dallas Cowboys to do it.
And, Craig Reynolds, although he's been a little bit more effective than Zeke this year, isn't exactly a household name or a superstar caliber player to give the occasional breather to Jahmyr Gibbs. They're an obvious playoff threat. That could potentially make some sense for Detroit. And if there wasn't already that kind of behind-the-scenes, agent reaching out to teams, behind the, back channel stuff, does anybody want Ezekiel Elliott? This was not a good reunion for the Cowboys.
Well, here's the thing. this is what I'm going to get into. This is, you probably saw that in the pen. Here's what I'm going to get into. We have seen Dan Quinn up to his meddling ways, if you will, for lack of words. We've seen Dan Quinn into his meddling ways take the Dallas Cowboys players defensively. If you're not going to use, said Ezekiel Elliott, and let's be fair about this, because fans have said, give us Pollard, get rid of Zeke. Now fans are saying, give us Donald and get rid of Zeke. But we've seen how this thing plays out. Every time you go to a different team, or one of our players go to said different team, we see the same thing take place. We see the same results. We see our players benefit greatly. And I'm going to tell you like this. I hear what he's saying, and you don't think no team's going to be knocking down the door to get Ezekiel Elliott. But I'm going to tell you like this right here. Don't let the Washington Commanders end up getting Ezekiel Elliott. Do not let him get Zeke. And on top of that, you're going to let him have a, if you will, audition to play against the Cowboys. In this last grand finale, this last game for the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to let Ezekiel Elliott play against you. Now, I had a conversation with my brother on the phone Monday, and I shared with him that the Dallas Cowboys better not let Zeke go, and then the Commanders end up getting him. And then you see an Ezekiel Elliott that you were holding back, and you see an Ezekiel Elliott thrash defenses with the opportunity to take advantage of what you could not or would not take advantage of. See, this is what happens with defenses that play or scheme against a team whereby they know they don't have the weaponry in an offensive line to open up holes against said defenses, whereby their running backs or the quarterbacks can be effective. We're going to hear a little more about this Tom Downey. I'm just breaking this thing down as we go. We're going to hear a little more about it, but I want you to hear him, and I want you to hear eventually the disrespect that I believe that Ezekiel Elliott gets.
Cowboys and Zeke. We know that. It didn't go well. It was a disappointing season. I don't think anyone involved, period, unless you were actively cheering against Zeke, wanted it to go the way that it did. I don't think, averaging just over 3 yards per carry, a couple of touchdowns, at least he got one.
Averaging just 3 yards a carry. We recognize when a team is setting you up for failure on purpose. We recognize that. See, one thing is certain. Dallas Cowboys still had to pay Zeke. So to have an opportunity to stunt you from being great, to stunt you from having an effective season with a team, let's say the Washington Commanders, let's say Philadelphia Eagles, before Saquon was signed, or whatever the case may be. Let's say whatever. Because, see, the Dallas Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott were having talks and conversations which negated where Ezekiel Elliott could have went, because he wanted to be loyal to the Dallas Cowboys. Can we honestly say the Dallas Cowboys were loyal to Ezekiel Elliott? Because when game one came along, we still were scratching our heads trying to figure out who's going to be the running back. Who's going to start? And when they did start, See, one thing about having a sporadic mindset with a sporadic team, because the sporadic team made my mindset sporadic. Here's the issue. You no longer play as you once did. Now, Ezekiel Elliott understood his role with the Patriots. He understood his role. He understood you already have a running back. I'm just coming in to assist and help. You know I'm still that guy. I'm just coming in to assist and help. And we saw the spurts of Ezekiel Elliott when he got on the football field and the yards that he did, and the touchdowns, and we seen that. Now, we was just hoping to get a little bit of that brought back here to Dallas. But Dallas never provided the opportunity for us to receive that because of the sporadic mindset that they have with this football team. Let's not forget or lose the track of remembering that I said in my podcast in the interim of the off season that I didn't know what the Dallas Cowboys was going to do based on how Jerry Jones is running this team and how he was putting together this football team. Remember, we didn't even know who was going to be where, who was going to be what. We didn't know who the second or third receiver was going to be. We didn't know who the running backs was. We didn't know. We was losing players on defense. We didn't know what holes they was going to fill on the defense. We didn't know anything about this team moving into minicamp and training camp, moving into scrimmage games and preseason games. We still didn't know because CeeDee Lamb did not sign yet. And here we are thinking. In my mind, I'm saying as I am being asked this question. So what you think? How you think the Cowboys gonna do this year, man? How you think y'all gonna? Well, I mean, y'all all right? You good? In my mind, you know what I'm saying to them? Nah, we ain't good. We're not good. And we're not good because I haven't seen Jerry Jones implement being all in. I'm still waiting for Jerry to give us a clue or give us some kind of explanation, some kind of hope that he's all in, that he's seriously all in. We ain't seen that yet. All in meaning that you already know that your offensive line is busted. You already know that your offensive line with Steele, with a hampering injury. They took Biotis, and that's a void. So we got a lot that's going on. Tyron Smith is now with the Jets. So we got a lot of holes that we got to fill on this offensive line. You swore up and down that Guyton was that guy, and Guyton is not that guy. Huh? Martin is almost but a shell of himself. Nobody is opening holes, but everybody has let the dam come in. See, it wasn't until, and Donald was the same way. He was only, remember Donald in the fifth or sixth game, Donald only had 200 yards rushing. You took Zeke completely out of the game. Zeke has only got like 2 to 3, maybe 4 rushes, 4 attempts, 3 to 4 attempts a game. What running back that you can think of can get their mindset wrapped around averaging 3 to 4 attempts a game and be effective? And listen, not just be effective, but be effective in the garbage plays that they've given you to run. If you just go back and look at the Ezekiel Elliott highlights and look at the garbage plays that they gave him, and when they settled down to say, Donald, you our guy, we're going to go ahead and go with you, then you see how the offense settled down. You see how he got comfortable. And this is the same thing that it would have happened with Ezekiel Elliott if you would have gave them the opportunity. If you would have put together an offensive line. And let's understand this thing, because Donald still wasn't effective like that. Last week, what, he only had 25 yards rushing last week? What? 25 yards rushing on 15 or 25 attempts. It's a lot here, man. It's a lot.
To kind of wrap it up 2 weeks ago, I don't think this is how people wanted it to go. I think there is plenty of disappointment around the way things ended with Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys. And I think there was frustration too. I don't think Zeke was happy with his role. If he was, he probably wouldn't be asking to be released right now. I don't think that the Cowboys were happy with some of the ways Zeke handled things. That's why he got suspended for a game. He had 74 carries for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Listen, I don't care who you are. Aaron Rodgers is getting his fair shake in terms of how he handled the situation with the Jets. He's getting his fair share of people not really happy about what he did. Now, Ezekiel Elliott didn't go to that measure. He didn't go to that degree. But at the end of the day, when you are not playing well, not because of your own skill or your own demise or degrading skill set as a player, but it is because of what the team has done. The Dallas Cowboys, see, this is what people don't want to say. I'm going to say it, but people don't want to say it. The Dallas Cowboys is a bad football team. The Dallas Cowboys is a bad football team. They are a bad football team. It's just what it is. They're horrible. You know, if I was to sit back and give a consistent take on the Dallas Cowboys as to who is the most prolific player on this Dallas football team, do you want to know who it is? Do you want to know who it is? The most prolific player who shows up every single time and overachieved in my estimation, it's going to be Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey could give a rat's tail about what whoever think what was going on. He went out and did his job. They blocked for Brandon Aubrey to have a NFL record-setting season as a NFL field goal kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. He did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal. Can we honestly say now this is credit to what is his name? I'm so terrible with names. The special teams coach did a phenomenal job with him. The special teams coach. As much flap that they tried to give him for that Warray debacle that he did, that's not on the coach. The coach taught him. The coach taught him. The coach taught the team. He taught his players what to do and what not to do. We just had a bonehead moment with a bonehead player that went out and touched the football, knowing the first thing you're supposed to do when that ball hit the ground and you know you're not the receiver to handle this ball, get away from it. Fossil taught that. So Fossil did a phenomenal job as far as I'm concerned with this special team and then in this field goal kicker. But can you say the same thing with Mike McCarthy? Because I'm going to say this until it is heard all over the world. Mike McCarthy runs the same scheme. He runs the same offense, although he's throwing out there analytics and whatever else. But Mike, one thing about a leopard never changes his spots, nor a zebra his spots, stripes and stripes. A leopard never changes his spots, nor a zebra his stripes. And Mike McCarthy never changed from when he left Green Bay. If you take a look at the window, and I'm going to say this again, take a look at the window, since they want to blame Ezekiel Elliott and say he's not the same player. Okay, well, Mike McCarthy is not the same, is the same coach. He is the same coach that he was at Green Bay when he left after 2010. He's the same coach. Jerry Jones is the same meddling owner. After Jimmy Johnson and after Barry Switzer, he has been the same owner. It's not going to change. If you're looking for Jerry Jones to make a splash in free agency, he's not going to do it. He's going to try to find his guys in the draft. But the thing about it is, you don't have that general in the draft room, in the war room, to pinpoint the kind of players that he want to coach. And Jerry, you stay over there. Steven, you stay wherever you are, and you let me deal with this. That's Jimmy Johnson. See, he hasn't had a Jimmy Johnson, and if you want to call Jimmy Johnson the coach / GM, then that's what Jimmy Johnson was. I'm going to get a little more into that, but let's hear what he got to say because I want to finish this up.
This year. That's not good. We can acknowledge that and identify, that's not the elite running back he was in his prime. So I think there is some disappointment, frustration, and frankly, regret probably from all sides involved. I think Zeke wanted more touches, and I think the Cowboys wanted Zeke to be better than the guy that they got for the 15 games this season. So the pinned comment is this, and we'll spend some more time.
Well, here's the thing. Donald was there with Pollard. Pollard beat Donald out. Rico Dowdle was there with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard beat him out. Rico Dowdle was there with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott beat both Tony Pollard and him out. So, okay, you want to say is Rico Dowdle's time. You want to say it's his time. Well, then he has his time, but let me tell you, from a person that knows the running back position, he won't last long. He is not what you call an every down back. He's not. He's not. Which gives me the inclination that the Dallas Cowboys are going to go for a running back. And if they don't go for a running back in this draft, they are absolutely, positively crazy and out of their mind if they think that they're going to have a balanced offense with Rico Dowdle. First and foremost, Rico Dowdle is one of the most, if not the most sorriest blocking running backs in the league. And one thing that a quarterback like Dak Prescott or Aaron Rodgers or Purdy or I love this kid that's from Cincinnati, Cool Breeze. I can't think of his name. But if you're going to have quarterbacks like these guys, and I didn't even throw Hurts inside of there because since you added Saquon Barkley to Hurts, who's able to block and run, you got yourself something to balance. The Dallas Cowboys better get that balanced running back in the offseason. If they don't, and they think they can ride Rico Dowdle, if they think they can ride Rico Dowdle, they are sadly mistaken. So the only thing that I can say, okay, Zeke, you've been here, you've proven, you've given so much to this football team. I tell you what, we'll grant you, because we already know in our mind that we are going after a running back in the draft. It's just facts, man.
Time on it here. Did the Cowboys make a mistake in re-signing Ezekiel Elliott? Why for yes and for no? Go to the comments of today's show.
We already know, man, that we already know that a lot of people are going to say what they're going to say as relates to Ezekiel Elliott. Not or having an opportunity to play with for the
Anyone with
Dallas
$10,000
Cowboys
or
again.
more in credit card debt or personal
I
loans
did
may
stop this thing.
qualify
What
for
is
help
going
from
on?
National Debt Relief.
But yeah, we definitely know that is taking place. That people are going to say, "Oh no, we should have never signed him. He's washed up. He's done." If we're going to say Ezekiel Elliott is washed up, then the whole offensive line is some trash, and we all know that to be a fact. They are some trash. They are atrocious. And I, for one, here's my theory. The way Dan Quinn have handled himself with the Dallas Cowboys, don't be surprised if we see that the Dallas Cowboys' beloved Ezekiel Elliott ends up in a Washington Commanders uniform. And let's not be surprised if he ends up playing against the Dallas Cowboys next Sunday. Let's not be surprised at that either, because that's just typical Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn don't give a hoot. He don't care, especially if you're on the opposite side of the line. He do not care. So that being said, Zeke get his time, his audition. You may want to think about this a little bit here and realize what has been taking place. It'd been better for the Dallas Cowboys to tell Ezekiel Elliott, hold fast, bro. We ain't got but one more game. We can go ahead and let you ride. But, you know, Zeke must have been talking to a team about his services to help that team in the playoffs. Now, one thing I've said about this in this reunion, and this is what Mike McCarthy said during the bringing back of one Ezekiel Elliott. Mike McCarthy said that, and also Jerry Jones said it as well, that they're saving Ezekiel Elliott for the playoffs. Do you remember that? Y'all remember that? Saving Ezekiel Elliott for the playoffs is what they're saying. Why? Because they know the impact of having an Ezekiel Elliott in the playoffs, what implications that could be and that will be if he is on a team in the playoffs to compete at a high level. And we all know what teams want in the playoffs. They want touchdowns. Something the Dallas Cowboys wasn't thinking about when they brought Ezekiel Elliott in, knowing that he is a touchdown machine. While individuals are looking in between the lines, they're looking in between the lines from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line. They're looking in between the lines, and they want Ezekiel Elliott to be that beast. Well, here's where Ezekiel Elliott is that beast. He's that beast when he is on the goal line within 10 yards outside of the goal line. That's when Ezekiel Elliott is at his true best. And what team wants that on their sideline or on their side in the playoffs? I would take all of them on that. All of them want that. And so we find ourselves in awe about what is transpiring with the Dallas Cowboys and the letting go of Ezekiel Elliott. I have one other that I want to take a look at. Let's see how this goes. Okay, let's talk about a little bit more hate. Here we go. Oh Lord, don't do that, man.
He has 1,100 touches since 2019 and has not scored a touchdown outside of the red zone since 2019. Does Zeke have any miles left?
Okay. Had some audio issues. Let's figure this out. That's Archo saying, does Zeke have any miles left? You know. Yeah, I would say he does. You know, people might say I'm just, out there, but one thing about me, you can always say, I'm for our guys. Okay, I'm for our guys, and that's just the bottom line to it. I'm not going to sit back and be like, okay, it's a bust. I'm not going to say that about our guys. I'm going to say, listen, we have to address the offensive line. That's what I'm going to say. I'm trying to find it, but man. Oh, well, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but nonetheless, that's my take on this Ezekiel Elliott thing, man. I'd like to know your comments in the section about it. I want to come back in and talk about this Mike McCarthy situation. Whether I believe Mike McCarthy is going to come back. I'm gonna come back at around 7 and do that take, and I'm gonna have me some fun. New Year's. This is my New Year's Eve take for the Dallas Cowboys. This is my last live before the well, it's not my last live because I'm coming back on at 7 to talk about this Mike McCarthy situation, whether or not the Dallas Cowboys are going to bring him back, or whether or not Mike is going to say "c'est la vie." In other words, the Dallas Cowboys news just keep on rolling, baby. It just keep on rolling. I'm your boy, Roe Stars Sports, making sense. Hey, listen, man, how about them Cowboys? And hey, subscribe to the channel, like the content, and hey, man. Ah, boy, it never ends. It never ends. It never ends, man. Peace.